I love Skyrim. I've been playing this game for like 15 years now, and simply playing the game, it's not enough anymore. I need to live Skyrim. I need to breathe Skyrim. I need to eat Skyrim. I figure what better way to fully immerse myself into the food of Skyrim than by only eating meals from the game for a week. So I'm making several entrees, sides, and sweets this week to figure out just what it's like to live in the cold, dark tundra. Where to begin? There's gotta be some sort of tome or book that I can consult to help me decide what to make.
A new hand touches the
bacon streaks.
Today we've got like a sort of meatloaf of the sea. This is Horker Loaf. They're like a walrus or a sea lion or a sea manatee. Whatever they are, you don't want to go near them unless I guess you're really hungry, in which case, a Horker Loaf. There's like a carrot in it, garlic, oysters, which I've had oysters before. I've never like put them in something, and I've never had canned oysters, which was not a great experience. The can itself wouldn't open up, which was a little bit frustrating. There's a load of ground beef in here. It's pretty much mostly ground beef, breadcrumbs, an egg, a little bit of heavy cream. You mush it all up, add some Nord spices, a little salt and pepper, and then you have this. I don't think I can show this on YouTube. Of course, as a side, I have a glass of milk. As was tradition in my house growing up, you had meatloaf and a glass of milk. Let's see if it's any good. You gotta chase it with a little bit of milk. Oh god, that's weird. The meatloaf itself is like fine. It's not bad. I haven't had a meatloaf since I was probably like 11 years old, so this is a bit nostalgic. You definitely taste the actual Nord spices. It feels a little bit like a Christmas loaf, you know, Santa. Texturally, it's kind of just like you're eating a lot of ground beef. That's what it feels like more than anything. There's a recipe for a mustard in the cookbook, which probably would go pretty well with this. As it stands, just eating a bunch of ground beef, not super my thing. The oysters don't stand out too much, but there's definitely a little something in the back of my mind that I can't quite pin down that I'm assuming is those oysters. I've got so much of this left. I'm not super looking forward to eating it all, if I'm being honest. It's not bad. As it stands, I guess I would give it like a 5 out of 9 divines, 4.5. It's really right down the middle. It's not the worst thing. It's not something I would probably ever choose to make again. It doesn't feel like I wasted 2 pounds of ground beef, thankfully. If you're really into meatloaf, you might be excited that there's like a new variation on it, but I can't say meatloaf is really a dish I've ever craved. As far as like a starting dish, it's all right. It has the Nord spices, which I do really like. They smell really good. They're kind of fragrant. There's not too much in it that it's overpowering, but you kind of get it on the tail end where it tastes a little bit wintry. It's kind of just a lot of meat. I really need like a sauce or additional veggies that I should have prepared on the side, something else so that I'm not just eating a pile of ground beef, but the flavor is fine, the taste is fine. On to the next one. That was delicious. Now that I'm all horked full of loaf, I suppose it's time to turn in for the day. Tomorrow will be another one, full of some sort of food, but actually before I go to bed, I need to do just a little bit of prep for what I'm having for breakfast. Good morning. As you can probably tell from my disheveled appearance and the rising sun that I'm guessing is behind me, it's morning time, which means it's time for breakfast. And today we have a Skyrim classic, if you will, the sweet roll. You may notice it looks a little bit messed up, and that's because it didn't quite turn out right. But I don't think this one's my fault. The recipe did not say to grease or spray the pan at all with any non-stick, but it's probably still gonna taste like food. Let's give it a little cut. To be completely honest, it kind of just looks like bread, and I guess that's really all it is. It's really not particularly sugary or anything like that. When you make the recipe, the only real sugar that you're adding is like 2 tablespoons of honey. Everything else is pretty much just flour, yeast, water, and butter. I think it's gonna taste kind of just like bread. Wow. I don't think this is gonna be my breakfast every day. It's not terrible, so it's got that going for it. Part of the recipe is a little bit off because I didn't have just a bunch of like bleached flour. I didn't have enough to make it, so I used whole wheat, but I don't think that's contributing to everything that's weird about this. There's definitely other stuff going on here. It tastes very yeasty. I feel like I can taste the yeast in it. It's been a while since I've had homemade bread, but I don't think that that should be your main takeaway from it. It's pretty dense. Obviously it's a little bit different because they recommend you make it in like a smaller bundt pan, and I only had the big one. I don't think that's the main concern. I probably put too much flour in it. I'm not a baker. I feel pretty confident making dinners. Desserts, confectionaries, that is not as much my thing. Let's try a little bit with the actual frosting, glaze, the sweet part. It's a lot better with the actual icing. Borderline tolerable, even. I did also mess up the icing when I was making it. It was supposed to be a little bit runnier. It sort of dripped down the sides. As you can see, it didn't really do that. Thankfully, I have other breakfasts that I'm gonna be making, so I don't have to just eat this all week. I think it would be a little bit better if you just like chopped off the bottom part of it so there was just less bread, or maybe if you toasted it and added some butter, that could be a little bit better. As it stands right now, I would give this like 4 out of 9 divines. Is that a ranking? I will say it's at least pretty dense, pretty hearty. Feels like something that if you were out in the cold, you had to go do some hunting, split some wood, work in your field. This would probably keep you hungry. I mean, keep you fed, the opposite of that, for a while. One other thing of note throughout this week is that unfortunately Skyrim does not have any coffee in it. I don't know if there's coffee at all in Tamriel, but it certainly hasn't gotten imported yet into Skyrim. So that's not something that I'm gonna be drinking any of this week. I do think this would probably be better with like a bitter cup of coffee to maybe offset all the bread of it, but instead I'm just gonna be drinking tea this morning, and probably most mornings. There's a lot of different varieties of tea that you'd be able to get in Skyrim, so shout out to all my tea boys and my tea girls in the audience. Y'all are great, and I'm having a cup with ya. Overall, I think it was a fine experiment. There's definitely some things that seem to be my fault with it, and some things that I would also blame the recipe for. I don't know why there weren't instructions to spray the pan down or like put butter on the inside of it, something to help prevent it from sticking. I think that would have made it a lot more aesthetically appealing, and it also would have made it actually just come out of the pan easier, which would have been nice.
Let me tell you, after a long morning at the cheese wheel factory, I'm very excited to have my union-mandated lunch break and get to eat something else. I'll admit, I was a little bit disappointed by the sweet roll this morning. I knew it didn't visually turn out very well, but I was disappointed that the taste was also, not that great. So to be honest, I'm very hungry, and I've been cooking this all morning, and I'm pretty excited to eat it. This is Braised Rib Stew with farro, except it's not, because I put barley in it instead. So it's really Braised Rib Stew with barley. In it is beef short ribs, carrots, leeks, and rutabaga? No, turnips? Parsnips. And then otherwise it's stock garlic. I added a lot more garlic than it said to. I pretty much doubled the garlic just because I felt like garlic is good. This dish seems to be a little bit more of like a commoner's dish. There's really basically no spice in it. There's just black pepper and salt. There's no like bay leaves even or anything too crazy. It seems like something that someone like living in the countryside who is a farmer would probably be eating on a regular basis. It looks very hearty. It seems like something that would fill you up in the cold months, and I'm very excited to eat it. I hope it tastes good. This is actually super exciting. It's really good, super tasty. The whole thing is very savory. All the vegetables are super tender. The meat is really tender. It just kind of falls apart, melts in your mouth because it's just been slowly cooking, stewing, I guess you could call it, over the last few hours. It's actually something I would eat again. The veggies
add some extra texture and heartiness to it, but you don't taste them a whole lot. To be honest, I don't think I know what a leek tastes like still. Also, just for the record, I did not cut myself while cooking. This was completely unrelated while I was opening up a stand, though I did almost slice my fingers off while I was chopping some things. Yeah, I don't have a whole ton more to say about this other than it was just genuinely very enjoyable, very hearty, buttery. Feels like it's gonna keep you warm, keep you full. It feels like something that's probably a pretty authentic Skyrim dish. All of the vegetables are ones you can find for the most part in the game. In Skyrim, it seems like a lot of root vegetables are what's gonna be most common. Obviously, a bunch of people have cows, so no problem getting the short ribs. But I gotta get back to the cheese wheel factory because my lunch break is only like 3 minutes long. We have a union. We need to do a little bit more with it though. Did I forget to rank the stew? I feel like I did. If I did, then it's definitely 8 out of 9 divines. That was a good one. That was one of the best easily. As far as these meals go, a lot of the ones that I chose to make are pretty simple and revolve around meat or seafood as the central or really only focus of the dish, which, I mean, you'd need a lot of protein and fat if you were living out here. It's a good, easy way to get all that sustenance in the cold reaches of Skyrim. If you happen to be vegetarian or vegan, well, I think there's some vegetarian recipes. I'm not sure there's actually any vegan ones, maybe a veggie soup. Really, most of your options are soup. There's like 3 or 4 main entrees that I think you could have. Otherwise, lots of sides and desserts. I'm sure you love hearing that. Obviously, I couldn't make everything from this cookbook as it's actually super full of recipes. There are a ton in each of the different categories. I was originally going to make the companion balls because I thought it would be funny, but it seemed a bit redundant since I was making the Horker Loaf and they're both just kind of ground beef mushed together. Though in hindsight, I'm pretty sure I would have liked them better since they don't have any oysters in them. The rest of the recipes though are pretty unique. There's not a whole lot of repetition. Aside from dinner, I wanted to make a few sweets though. There is a surprising amount of candy and other sweet treats floating around Skyrim. I guess Nords have a sweet tooth. The honey nut treat seemed just not very appealing to me, so I decided to fully abstain from balls in this video and I went with the long taffy treat instead. Now, I personally have never made taffy before. It seemed like an exciting challenge in a lot of ways, but pretty simple as far as the ingredients go. I mean, it's mostly sugar, a lot of honey, which I guess is just more sugar. A lot of these recipes use honey, so I hope you've got your apiarist on speed dial. You infuse the taffy with flavor from boiling tea and water, and then you just add some salt and butter, you bring it up to temperature, and then you work it as it cools until it becomes solid. You just have to work it for a while. Just kind of keep going and just, you know, moving it around on the pan, and eventually it will become solid. You got to do it for a while and just keep going and keep going. The recipe says you have to get the mixture up to 255 degrees Fahrenheit before you take it off the heat, and I literally could not do it. I got it up just under 240, but every time I was anywhere close, the whole pot would start to boil, and it got so hard that I kept thinking it was going to boil over, and I couldn't get it to that temperature, and I didn't want a bunch of hot sugar to explode all over the kitchen. I don't have any footage of this process, unfortunately, because I was trying to have my camera set up for when I poured it over onto the baking sheet, and it kept splashing. It's getting little burning bits of sugar on me, and this one it didn't pan out. I thought maybe I could add some confectioner's sugar and that would act like flour in this instance, but all it did was give it a kind of Majin Buu tubby custard coloring. As a last resort, I tried freezing it, and after 2 days, it's still a sort of odd, non-Newtonian fluid consistency. And really, the worst part here is that it tastes amazing. It's got a sweet honey and kind of cranberry taste to it, but it sticks to everything, and it really was just a complete blob. But that's okay. Let's recover from that failure by making some bread. I did fine with the sweet roll earlier, so I feel pretty confident about this lavender loaf. I love lavender, and this is a sweeter bread overall than the sweet roll was, so I expect it to taste a lot better. You just gotta add your ingredients in, let it rise again. Eventually, it will rise. Maybe not. Well, I can always just cook it, and maybe it'll be a little bit denser, but probably still tasty.
Please kill me.
Apples.
You can't mess up apples. Stewed apples and Eider cheese is a recipe consisting of apples and currants that are cooked in butter, sugar, and spices and then served topped with cheese. The recipe recommends blue cheese, but it also says you can sub for goat cheese if you're feeling less adventurous, and I went with the goat cheese because after 2 failures, I just wanted to win, and these are delicious. The goat cheese adds just a nice little bit of creaminess to the apples, and the warm apples mixed in with all these Nord spices is just very comforting. Eating this over oatmeal, or if it's cooled down mixed into yogurt, is such a good breakfast, and this is probably what I'll end up using all of the extra spice mixes for. Easily 8 out of 9 divines. After many mishaps and mistakes and misadventures, we've finally made it to the last meal. My last supper here in Skyrim, lamb chops with Juniper. Except I couldn't find lamb, so it's pork chops. To make this, what's the term for when you like soak meat? You let it gestate? Wait, what is the actual term? It's not brine. You let meat soak in a bag for like 2 hours in some broth, a little bit of beer, some garlic, juniper, cloves, I think. Soak up all that goodness and then you cook it up. You're supposed to reduce whatever that liquid is down to a sauce and then pour it over, but I kind of kept boiling it and it never really got any smaller. It just sort of got grosser. So, you know, no one's perfect. We're all trying to learn new things, get through the day, making mistakes along the way. At the end of the day, all you can ask for is that you make something vaguely edible. And I'm hoping that that's what this is. I also did leeks as a side, the grilled leeks with a little bit of Parmesan on top of them, because I figured just eating a slab of meat wouldn't be that great of a meal. I'm happy to say it's pretty good. All the flavors soaked in pretty well. The flavor is subtle, it's not overwhelming. When I was crushing the junipers, I was like, dang, this could be a little bit too strong, but it ended up being pretty nice. This meal, along with kind of everything that I've tasted so far, just has a nice kind of winter feel. This seems like it would be a really good cookbook to use around the time of the year when it starts to get cold. Days are short, you might as well cook because you're not going outside. Although I guess you could just play Skyrim and like order a pizza. But this is also pretty good. As far as this juniper dish goes, obviously I can't entirely judge it based off of how it was intended because I did pork instead of lamb, but the flavors themselves are really good. I feel like I'd like them on pretty much anything, chicken or beef or whatever. So I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 9 divines. It's like pretty good, but not anything that I would be like dying to make again. I think if I could get the juice, the soaking juice, to reduce down into a sauce, I think that would really push it a little bit further. I don't know why it didn't. I guess I should also rank the leeks. These were fine. I imagine the carrots would probably be better, if I'm being honest. They're good, I like an onion, but they're truly nothing remarkable. And I feel like for the amount of effort that you have to put in, like boiling them, taking them out of the water, grilling them. Okay, it's not that much effort, but it's more than just like sauteing an onion, and it really doesn't taste that much better. I think I'd rather just have like a yellow onion. For that, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 9 divines. It's not bad, but it's kind of not really worth the effort, if I'm being honest. Clearly, I'm not as good at cooking as I thought I was, given the direction a lot of these meals have gone in, but overall, I'm pretty happy with most of the things. I'm happy with everything that I made that turned out. There's nothing that I made, well, that's not even true, because the sweet roll wasn't good. Everything other than the sweet roll that I've made, I enjoyed, and I would probably make again. But yeah, this one's good. It's more interesting and more something that I would eat again than like the Horker Loaf. But as far as like really good meals go, this isn't anything that I'm gonna be like, you have to try it, but it's good. Yeah, it's fine. I don't know. Let's wrap this up. Not with me though. I gotta finish eating this. You gotta go talk to someone else. One thing I'm very thankful for is that I've actually been able to grow a few of the ingredients that I've used in these recipes in my own backyard. This brings us to the end of our time here in Skyrim. There was one more recipe that I did prepare, but it's actually not ready yet. There are a whole bunch of different drinks in the back of the cookbook, and I figured I'd make skooma. Why bother easing in with mead? Let's go straight to the hard stuff. The only problem is the recipe says to let it steep for up to a month for maximum flavor, and I want this stuff strong. So if you're curious how that skooma turns out, I'm gonna be making a video on my Patreon in a couple of weeks. Consider it a little Hey Cowboy happy hour, if you will. Also, big thank you to my patrons who help make these videos possible. All in all, I think this cookbook and the recipes in it were pretty good. There's a few minor details here and there that I think should have been included in some of the recipes that you probably will be able to figure out if you're experienced with cooking and baking. Some of the recipe failures were my personal fault. I did not store my yeast properly for the lavender bread, which I believe is why it didn't rise, but the taffy just seems like a hard recipe to make work on the first go. The difficulty levels that they have with each of the recipes are completely made up. But the recipes were overall pretty good. They were rustic and hearty, using a lot of the ingredients you would find in the actual game. There are a ton more recipes in here that seemed interesting that I didn't get to make. Maybe someday I'll be back here soon. Until then, safe travels, and take care. Thank you for watching. Okay, bye.